Okay, so we have San Francisco band member Theo found guilty of first-degree murder. Theobald watched 6-week trial was rocked by discovery of an audio recording of the murder halfway through. One day after arguments concluded that Theo trial, a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder in the killing of his romantic partner, Alice Herman of Capitola. The jury's decision, after only one day of deliberation, that was a really quick one, marked the end of a 6-week trial in Santa Cruz Superior Court that took a shocking turn in its fourth week with the 11th hour discovery of an audio recording on Herman's phone from the night of her death. Lengyel, 55, also known by his nickname Milo Stone, was a founding member of the Eureka-based, I'm like the Eureka-based rock band Mr Bungle, whom he played saxophone from 1985 to 1996. And in the avant-garde jazz rock band attained cult status and even released a split record with the Flaming Lips in 1992. Who would go on to achieve mainstream success. But if you follow back in those dates, there was actually a lot of violence from even other people in that band. Yeah. So that's actually part of some things that had popped up. That's what I was saying. And then I got attacked over here, which shouldn't surprise anybody because these guys are like murderous, okay? Yeah, that was really weird. Okay, so in the middle of this, right before this case came up, I just want to let you guys know the bizarreness of this whole thing. So while I was at the show, I was getting this middle finger. There was actually other stuff that happened even prior to this that was really strange. It's just the word strange. And that thing happened, and I was like, I cannot pinpoint, because you know how people pretend like it's not that they're doing, that they don't, it's for somebody else, So I was like, well, I don't know, it's a little strange. The next thing you know, this other person up in here is telling me, well, this other person told me to go to the show. That was just another thing. They said they've actually met them and drank with them and all kinds of weird shit. And so I was sitting here going, oh, okay, I don't know. Is it one of his friends over here? I mean, I have no idea, because you don't know. But then somebody else, we had another party elsewhere telling me or asking me if I killed somebody. And I'm like, I don't even know what the heck is going on here. It was really crazy. It made me, because not only that was going on, there was other stuff going on over here that's not even related to this. And I was just like, everything feels funky, just really funky. And this bad feeling, you have a gut feeling about something. And then all of a sudden they started showing me, well, they were talking about something. The other person that met them and all that was telling me something. And I went to go look at something and I was like, oh, I remember that they did this one thing. And then I found something else. And then all these other things. And then Marilyn Manson gets in trouble for like the same conduct, right? It was the same conduct. But I didn't realize it was this thing here because I was like, I remember this other incident, but I'm pretty sure it was made up. Like it was a setup thing, with actors with this other camp. And then when I went to look for it, I didn't find that. I found this other thing and I go, oh, like I remember this one part of it, but not this other part of it. And then the other guy was bringing up this other thing, but then he was trying to justify them being violent. And I was like, oh, no, I was so long ago, you guys. It was a really early, there was some early stuff in here. But then some of this stuff went into the early, it was like 2009? I don't remember. There was something where they got violent and I was like shocked. And then right away, they did this big apology thing or something. And I don't know. I didn't know if it was like this one-off thing, just like some incident, and it just went. Phew. Yeah, I don't know. And then somebody was asking me if I killed anybody, even accidentally. Something. I don't think it's the same guy though, because I don't know, the whole thing's all whack. I was trying to, I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't think so because I think that person is still around. So I'm like, I don't think it's the same people, but it was just really fishy. It was really fishy. So I was like, that person's a little off kilter asking that kind of thing. And then they said something about his wife. They're like, oh, my wife killed somebody. It was something weird and accidentally. They were saying accidentally killed somebody. And then all of a sudden this came up and I was like, oh, hell no. I don't even know what the hell. It was just so creepy, you guys. You don't even know. And the other party, I know that they were lying about some other stuff. So I was like, this whole thing is just whack. And then they just tried to really separate themselves from them. But they all grew up together, basically, a lot of them. And their conduct wasn't far from each other. I'm just saying. And so they wanted to make fun of a lot of things that they shouldn't be making fun of. And then brushed off, like, predators. Like, that was one. And then making fun of things like ASPD and stuff like that. I'm not making fun of that personality disorder, any of those that fall in line with that PD. It's really serious and it's really bad to have. And these guys, apparently, a lot of them have a lot of things going on. I can't specifically say with this guy here, but he does have the characteristic traits, because watch, you'll see in this thing, it's a little weird. Lengyel moved on from being a professional musician, earning a physics degree from Cornell University and transitioning to a career in financial technology. And it was through his work and tech that he met Herman, 61, who lived in Capitol. It was through work in his tech that he met Herman, 61. Okay, she was multilingual, had a PhD in neuroscience, and a black belt in Taekwondo, which, ladies, that doesn't mean anything. I had Taekwondo, everything. It does not protect you from none of this crap. I'm just letting you know. They gave us that whole thing as, kids. You got to learn some self-defense. I go, yeah, but in real life, when this situation happens, it's just, you're not in a one-on-one free spot. You're not in this thing. And was an avid canoeer, a talented musician, and a devoted mother to her adult daughters. So she had kids. And Herman and Lengyel began a dating relationship in 2017. And often split times between Herman's Capitola house and Lengyel's home on Craft Avenue in El Cerrito. A fact that would become important in the trial when to certain Lengyel's movements after her killing. Herman was reported missing December 2023 after not showing up for a planned family gathering in Hawaii. Her employer, the Berkeley branch of the finance firm Moody's, noted that the last day she logged into work was December 4th, and that was also the last day that her Apple Watch recorded her heartbeat, detectives say. The details around Herman's death were initially inferred largely by digital forensics that showed when her watch stopped recording her heartbeat, and traffic camera photos showing Lengyel's driving Herman's red Toyota Highlander in the East Bay the same night that she was killed. Lengyel buried her body in Berkeley's Tilden Park under a pile of rocks. A piece of rope was found next to her body, which Lengyel said later was a remnant of his failed attempt to hang himself next to her. Interestingly, Lengyel's counsel never denied that Lengyel killed Herman, only that his actions did not rise to the high legal bar required to qualify the act as murder in the first degree. The evidence will find that Lengyel killed her, but also that he loved her. That's such wonderful. This is the love you never want. Defense attorney Henry Angel said in her opening statement on September 4th, to constitute first-degree murder, prosecutors had to prove that Lengyel's actions were willful, deliberate, and premeditated, and that he had expressed an implied intent to kill Herman. And as Santa Cruz County Assistant District Attorney Emily Wang explained to jurors in her closing statement on Wednesday, October 9th, the trial was full of dramatic twists and turns in its 6-week span, far longer than prosecutors or defense lawyers believed it would last. To me, that's kind of fat. I don't know. Some of these cases go, I don't know. But as both sides commented on the final day of the trial, As Herman was an outsized figure in the Santa Cruz community, dozens of her family and friends and neighbors made appearances in the gallery and on the stand. Meanwhile, bizarre stories of Lengyel's sinister and intoxicated behavior. Go back to the band, you guys. Keep that little description there. Sinister and intoxicated behavior. Okay, relayed mostly through character witnesses, painted a portrait of a man who was outwardly successful, but weren't they outwardly successful being bizarre and intoxicated, though? I mean, hello. I was like, just, yeah. And charming, like all those socios are. Okay, but inwardly splenetic and wrathful. Stories of his intoxicated and chauvinistic antics accelerated in the late 2010s, whereas earlier, well, they actually would have always been, if we go back to stuff, I can guarantee you'll pinpoint all that. Maybe just people just really overlooked that because it was more, oh, I don't know. A lot of people took that in as being a normal behavior of men where I did not. But somehow in the mix of this, there's a lot of things that I did not see, but you know. Whereas earlier testimony about his life painted him as a handsome and charming man, and his ex-wife said of the early years of their relationship before he changed. Well, I guarantee you that was always there. It just probably, the more monsters things started to come out where you actually paid attention. It's all those little things that everybody misses, and that's why I keep pulling out all the little details that you should be paying attention to that we all pass off as being normal, and they're not. Prosecutors called many character witnesses in an attempt to ascribe a pattern of disturbing and violent behavior to him. As they called it, establishing this pattern was crucial to prosecutors, winning the most severe murder in the first degree. These odd, dark character witness antidotes include testimony from a neighbor in El Cerrito, a semi-retired doctor and hobbyist guitarist who told of being confronted in April 2023 by a drunken Lengyel at his doorstep who demanded they jam together despite the late hour. And so it would just mean that he's always been a total mess, but like when they drink, their defenses are down and they're just hella shitty. I mean, just even worse than they already are, but it's like them. It's still them. It's still the underlying horrible character that they are. I declined because I was looking forward to a quiet evening at home, Dr. Arthur told the court, and he began yelling, and I can't totally recall, but he said either you are being a C word. Yeah, see, the men, I told you, it is different when women say it, we shouldn't say it, but when men say it, he's degrading women by calling him a woman. See, this whole, their whole thing right there, yeah. So pay attention to that, ladies, because that actually is an early flag. Are you telling me prior to 2010, he never used that word to call other men or women? Tell me that. I guarantee you he has, and they're just probably like, oh, everybody, Yeah. So, Cal decided it was easier to accede to Lengyel's whims than risk an altercation. He shivered in the cold on his porch playing guitar for several hours while Lengyel's saxophone matched his strumming. Then there was a story of Jolene Welch, Lengyel's ex-wife, because he just got a divorce or something. It was really strange. I was trying to read this earlier portion, with whom he had 3 children before their divorce in 2017. In tearful testimony, Welch recounted an incident in which Lengyel got exceedingly drunk at a San Francisco Giants game. Oh god, all these sports guys, they're awful. Oh, okay, so games, and then burst into their home later that evening, smashed a window and punched Welch. Isn't that wonderful? That's a lovely guy. Another out-of-control moment, the Thanksgiving incident. Okay, came up multiple times in court. 4 family members, including Welch, testified about the time that Lengyel got in a violent altercation with his stepfather at a Thanksgiving dinner. Though each remember the story slightly differently, prosecutors returned to the story many times, though the varying accounts seemed to undercut any definitive narrative of Lengyel's instigation. Yet, when halfway through the trial, the audio recordings of Herman's killing was discovered on her phone, both the prosecution character witnessed heavy strategy and the defense strategy of questioning the relevance of such testimony became all but moot. No one knows why Herman was recording, whether it was an accident or intentional, but the harrowing 3-hour tape reveals in gruesome detail exactly what Lengyel and Herman did and said on the night of her death. The tape was played in full in court on October 1st. During their closing arguments, Wayne replayed 6 minutes from the tape, which include the moments in which Lengyel strangles and kills Herman in her Capitola home. Judge Nancy de la Pena warned the audience before it began to play, and many gallery members left the room. In it, one can hear Herman yelling, "Stop it," repeatedly and increasing muffled tones as though she is being restrained or held down. "Why should I stop?" Lengyel asked. Herman yells, "Stop," more and screams in pain repeatedly. She says, stop it 43 times, and I'm sure he's a total rapist too. Wayne told jurors he strangled her for a total of 5 minutes. We know her heart goes into bradycardia at 11:35, and we know that her body lay in the cold ground in that park for 28 days. Earlier in the recording, Lengyel asked Herman, "How do you want to die? How about I choke you to death?" That is expressed intent to kill. Theobald is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of murder in the first degree of Alice Herman. Evidently, the jury agreed with Wang and found him guilty of exactly that. Friends and family of Herman's present at the reading of the verdict Thursday afternoon began crying upon hearing the news. Lengyel's sentencing hearing in the scheduled at conference November 7th, though it is almost certain that 55-year-old would spend the rest of his life in prison. So how can you guys listen to that crap anymore from that time period? Because that's what's in the background, and people want us as women, because these guys are all men, so it didn't affect them. They've been acting about for a while, and they don't see the problem amongst themselves, because for him to be like that, that was from childhood. It's just like this ongoing thing. Like he may have had some PD or some other problems, but because they're all such whack jobs acting the same way, he seems normal in the circle. So for me to normalize, well, like I said, there was a lot of things in this that I actually didn't know. So it was like, for years, I just listened to the music. There was I didn't see any video of them or anything like that, other than when they were in the other band. The one other guy was in the other band. And so that I was given this music. And so this is what was, one of the main forms of music that I listened to for a long time. It was another band that I just didn't really, I didn't talk about much, but I chronically listened to them. So then, but I didn't see any videos. I didn't go to any shows. I didn't even know they did half this stuff. And so I would go down this rabbit hole sometimes and find like all these old things. And sometimes they're just funny because they're just dogging, or it seems like they're dogging on people. I'm pretty sure they are. And, but then, there's certain people in here that have similar actions, and it's sporadic. It's kind of like here and there, and you could kind of overlook it. And, no, but there was like one thing, like I said, they got violent, and I was like, wow. And then that was like the only one I remember. And then they apologized really quick. And then I just, I don't know, it leaves like a bad taste in your mouth, like that thing going on. But then that was it that I saw, I think, back then. And then, no, the thing that really, really pissed me off, and it still has right now, because it's even worse than I thought. So, like, I found an interview of the other guy that was in this band. Like, this is in this band, still in this band. Minimizing child predators. I go, wait a minute. I go, there's That is literally not a passable thing. Like, I don't know, there's a lot to that. And that went way south because that went somewhere else. But then, like I said, I found out later at the time that I was out here speaking about me getting touched as a kid and raped, they were making jokes about teens coming to their show. And I went to that show and I didn't know that they said that. And it's like a hindsight thing on a thing. And then it pissed me off. Like, it was like an addition. I was like, well, I didn't know they said that crap. They think it's funny. And then they came out later trying to act like everything's all serious. They have these problems. And then I go, yeah, but that's a lie. Why did they lie to the public? I don't know. He thinks it's funny. I don't know. They're making jokes about the whole thing. And then other people were saying some stuff, and then they showed me other stuff. And I go, oh, Marilyn Manson just got busted for that. He just lost in the court for doing that. I go, but he's not getting in trouble for doing that. So I go, wait a minute. I can't sit there and like start dragging Marilyn Manson and not bring that up. And then somebody came here and they're like, you're crazy. You're drunk. You Marilyn Manson, blah, 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 blah. And I go, do you want me to pull it up? Because if I pull it up, it's either going to cause, I know what's going to happen here. I'm going to get backlash on my side, but also it's going to get people pissed off at them because they're going to go, oh, wait a minute. Because they might actually be alerted to something they missed. And I go, well, we could do that. But I know that if I do that, they're just egging it on to target the hell out of me. That's all that would be. Because these people were questioning me. And I go, you want me to? Because then it's just like an expose. And then people are going to focus in on it. Like the media actually might focus in on it. If you guys don't notice, like sometimes I'll throw something out there and they didn't pay attention to. And then the media will go do a story on it. They'll look at it and they'll pull it out. And then go after those people. Like it could be so random. I'm like, oh, somebody was like bragging in their book that they were raping people. And then all of a sudden the media will go look and they're like, they did, and then they'll go do the story on it somewhere. So I'm like, you want me to? I'm sending them out. You can go look for it yourself. I don't, the thing is that everybody in here is a hot mess. Everybody in here has been vindictive. Everybody in here has been promoting this conduct on everybody, and somehow, we rationalize it as being normal, and then you miss it, and then at 55, somebody kills somebody. Okay, so that's literally the story about this. I go, because the hindsight in it all is like the similar thing with the Alice camp, where I'm like, they were all nuts from the beginning, but they try to present it as something fake, and it's a show. And I go, no, they're actually psychotic and there's real mental illness, over there. And it shouldn't become a kid's normal. It really shouldn't. And that's my justification for this, because the universe that I was in this music industry, like it just made this all like, oh, it's all fake. It's all fake. They're just being oh, brush it, this. And then the actual true, like, flags are there, and you're missing the flags because everybody's ill. Everybody's normalized those. And so that's kind of the bothersome thing in the whole thing for me. Not that the music's bad, it's just there's a lot to it. And I was like, man, I'm totally disturbed by all this. I got groomed. I was a kid at the start of this thing. So I was like, I'm just groomed up in here, and it's just bothersome, and you don't want kids going through this. And women should be able to catch this before it ends up with some weird thing like that. Because there definitely was signs. There's probably way more signs than they're even realizing as they're talking about the story. I was like, it wouldn't be a 2010 thing. It would have been, these things here, there, everything that they were like normalizing, in the early portion there that we all did. And then it goes into this other thing. So I was like, yeah, yeah, but for some reason, men can act like that. And everybody's just like, it's totally fine. It's a normal guy. He's just got little problems. You gotta let him be like that. Ladies, just ignore this and listen to it, okay? Even though the guy totally, like, brutally murdered some woman, we don't really care. We really want some young teens at the show, just ignore that. Yeah, it was this type of shit. And I was like, I had enough. I go, you know, victims buy your shit. Oh, and then they also did that stuff to some guys. So then there's male victims. So I was like, well, um, that would be why they justify it, because they do that stuff. That was it. I go, I'm totally right on that topic. I go, anybody that justifies that behavior, makes fun of it, actually had done it. And it could be on any gender. So I was like, oh god, this thing is too much. Yeah, it was really just like bam, bam, bam. And I was just like, okay. We cannot okay any of that. Regardless of how much of a fan or friend or family these people are to other people, you cannot justify that behavior, nor covering shit up. That's just a criminal action. Nobody should be covering up child anything. That's just a straight up crime. Regardless if the other party's disagreeing with it, that's a crime. Just covering up things like that, rapes and those types of things. So that's where this landed. Dude's gonna rot in prison forever. Split etiquette raffle. Stories of intoxicated chauvinists. So it's not the alcohol, you guys. That's why I keep saying, I go, don't let these men use this as an excuse. All this does is put down their, when they can easily manipulate when they're sober. When they get drunk, it just comes out more. Like, that's their inner true monster. And that was always there. People just kind of brushed it off. It was always there. And that's a thing that's just from childhood. The handsome and charming parts is where all these women just overlook the really bad part underneath it. It's like, sometimes he calls me the B word. But he's so wonderful because he'll sit there and lay it on thick. Oh, he's like lying whores. Like they'll say stuff like that. And they ignore it. Like it's just normal common talk. It's like, no way. Why would I want to be with some guy talking like that? He has a very low respect for our gender. He has a very low respect for anybody because even in the story, he's talking crap to some guy. Like they do both things. There's no, just on this gender. It's like, that's just how they all are. I have to be the one that has to confront these guys. And then it gets brutal. And it's not, I could deal with that. But this shit right here, this thing right here makes you never want to date. Makes you never want to date. And then they all gang up and they all wanted to like go at me. So I was like, how are you any different from this guy? You guys are all the same. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Why were they over here? The minute that I blocked those people and I took everything down, all those like comments that you're drunk and you're this and these vile messages that were being sent to me stopped. And that was after that Corey thing, because I took all their things down because I didn't want those people there, so I was trying to figure this out. And then after that was gone, I had these weird messages, you guys. It was like, I don't know, it was almost like they were on automated. I don't know. And I just delete them, and then most of the time they weren't even posted. Like they tried to post it and they either deleted it or the system took it down. And I was like, I don't know who that is. And then, but after I did this story and I was saying something, it was those people saying, you're drunk, you're crazy, you're this. And I go, oh, no, it has to be from those people. I don't know. But you guys don't know what's going on in the background. That's what I'm saying. I go, some people out here have very bad mental health issues. And oh my God, they like spewed onto me. I go, I was just reporting things as I see it and how I feel about it. I'm not saying, oh, for sure it's them, but it was during this thing. And then they go, when I said the Marilyn Manson thing, and they basically kind of told me off and we're all mad and everything else like that. And then I don't know who that is. And then they went, and I was like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, like, my view thing started going way the hell down. Like, all this stuff happened, and I was like, I don't even understand that. I go, you're going to tell me it was just them? They were, like, my biggest fans, and then they were telling me off, like, the whole time and getting off on it? Probably. It wouldn't surprise me, because it would be a vindictive thing and why they did it. And I could come up with a theory as to why they did it. But that's just going back into some stuff. And then if that was the case, they're psychotic. I was like, oh my God. And I was just letting people know. I go, I actually never met a lot of these people, even though like I might be a fan of some of these people, but I actually never met them. There are some people in here I did meet, but very briefly. Like Marilyn's very briefly. Michael Sweet's actually pretty well. I think it was like two times or something, but it was briefly even in that. And then the brother I had to work with there, for a short time. But even then, I wouldn't say, oh, I know him so well. But yeah, but there's not, no, there's a lot of people in here that I actually never met. You might think I did or something, but no. And then, the behavior here was inappropriate by a number of camps. We already know that Pee Wee camp was terrible. Oh my God. That was I don't even know if it was the bad part on this platform. It was somewhere else too. It was like on posts. Like now everybody's gonna be like, we're so wretched, we're losing our health thing. Yeah, so the minute I talk about my health, these people were cheering it on. That they hope I die or something. I was just like, is that to me? Yeah, it's so crazy. Somebody up in here has a screw loose. Like I don't know who it is, but yeah. So that's why I said I go. You shouldn't trust any of these people because you don't know what the hell's going on, and then you don't know what's going on in their brain. And no, I've never been. I don't know, but that just too much, you guys. Too much. This is very upsetting. But I have to do the story because I did the first part of it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna follow up. This is what happened. I'm not happy. I don't like any of it. But I could see it. Like it doesn't, it's weird because it's like, I'm not surprised. It's this thing about it where I'm like, I'm actually not surprised that that actually happened. I was at first because I was kind of like, wait, it's taking me off guard because there's too many weird things going on right now. And then as I was thinking about it, I go, yeah, no, it's just us okaying certain conduct from the early days that we haven't quite gone through yet, right?